So former GM, I believe he was the former GM of the New York Jets, Mike Tannenbaum, had a very interesting quote on ESPN's Get Up, and this is what he had to say. He said, quote, "I would be shocked if Russell Wilson was the starter for 17 games this season. The conversations that Sean Payton is having with ownership is that year one is about culture and accountability. It's Bill Parcells' approach, and he's going to see Russell Wilson as an opportunity to hold players accountable. I know the way Sean thinks. I'm just telling you, if Russell Wilson has the smallest bump in the road, he will be benched, and Sean's going to look at it as an opportunity to set the culture and the standard moving forward." Pretty heavy quote from Mike Tannenbaum. Russell Wilson could get benched, and what's interesting is we brought that up as I don't know if it was necessarily as a joke topic or as a sort of satire, just brush it off. However, I think there could potentially be an opportunity for Russell Wilson to get benched. So I don't know, what are your expectations for Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos heading into this season now post preseason?
Well, I think that if that's what Sean Payton wants to do, and he wants to really make a statement about culture and accountability, then that would do it, benching Russell Wilson. But it would only be if he played terrible, I would think. I think he's going to have a little wiggle room there in terms of his play. But if he played terrible, then he probably would get benched, and that would send that message. Do I think that's going to happen? No.
You don't think so?
No. Don't. I think he's going to have every chance to be successful. And I do think he'll play better than he did last year, and I do think the Broncos have a very good defense. They have, I don't know, do they have a decent running game? Who do they have?
Javonte Williams is coming back. I believe he had a torn ACL last season, but he was pretty efficient when he was in there.
So I don't think they really have that great a running game then, because somebody coming off an ACL to come back, usually it takes a little while to get back in the groove. So
they were the 21st ranked rushing team last season.
Their offensive line couldn't have been that good. I mean, well,
that's the thing.
They didn't protect Russell Wilson very well
we
last
saw in
year.
the preseason even. The offensive line, I'm not gonna say it was a sieve, but it was a slightly better version of a sieve, I guess. Yeah. That's still a huge problem.
So I think that Russell Wilson he's probably thinking that, right? That if I don't play well, there's a chance I'll get benched. They'll use it as a reason to make everyone else held accountable. I don't want to put myself in that situation. Like all other quarterbacks, I have to be supremely confident in myself and my abilities, and I've shown it in the past that I can do it. I have a great coach now. I have a great offensive system that's being put in place for me. I better learn it really well. And I better go out there and do the best I can and hope that my success keeps me on the field.
You would hope that. However, we are coming off of a Russell Wilson season that was, arguably his career worst.
It was by a long shot.
Lowest touchdowns, lowest completion percentage. He had tied for the second most interceptions in his career. It wasn't good. Second lowest in yards per attempt on the pass. His QBR was the lowest by a long shot, by nearly 20 points. I mean, Russell Wilson did not look pretty. However, we were hoping that we could potentially see a better offensive line with Sean Payton, and Sean Payton is a major culture builder. We saw in the Saints. The Saints had one of the best cultures in the NFL, and that was, large part due to what Sean Payton did. The last season, he got sacked 55 times, the most in his career. A sack percentage, every time he drops back, 1 in 10 chance he was hitting the ground. That's pretty scary coming from a quarterback who is 34 years old and is a mobile quarterback. And we also heard the rumors that he was potentially struggling with Sean Payton's offense. So I think we could potentially see, and it doesn't necessarily need to be from setting an example. I mean, last season, Russell Wilson was hurt. Could we see, Stidham come in? And if I'm not mistaken, Stidham actually, the last preseason game, he looked pretty good. Like, it was surprising.
He had very good stats in this last preseason game.
Yeah, so I mean, it really depends. Now, I'm sticking to my gut here, and I'm saying that once again. I don't know. I guarantee you, we will not see the same terrible season from Russell Wilson that we saw last season. But can we see a bad season, a not good season? Yeah, and I think that would still technically, make me correct when I say this is more of a trend, not a blip, because I think we're not going to see Russell Wilson go back into, MVP form or near MVP form. I don't think he ever got an MVP vote, but sort of that top of the league, one of the most dominant quarterbacks in the league, over 100 passer rating and stuff like that. I don't know if we necessarily will see that, and I don't believe we will. And I'm going to stick to my gun there because guess what? He lost one of his wide receivers to injury. The running game, we don't know what that looks like. The offensive line looks abysmal already, and it's just the preseason. Who knows if that'll pick up the pace heading into the regular season here. But we're going to see a Russell Wilson team that I don't necessarily know how many wins they're going to get. Let's bring up the schedule real quick. I mean, week 1 should be a win. You may go 2-0.
They better win that first game and the first 2, right? They need to win those first 2.
I agree with you there.
And they should have a good chance to win them.
I think Miami.
I think it's going to be hard at Miami. I think that's going to be a tough game for them.
The middle of the road there is brutal.
They should win the 4th game too at the Bears, right?
Probably. And then I honestly think from week 5 to maybe week 17 could be very, very difficult. If Deshaun Watson becomes even a glimpse of what he was before he went into that quarterback limbo and then, signed with the Browns and was very, very rusty last season, if he's even a glimpse of what he used to be last year on the Texans, that could be a difficult game with Nick Chubb, with Amari Cooper, with Myles Garrett in that defense. So who knows? The Vikings, I think they're still going to be pretty good. The Bills are difficult. The Packers potentially.
It depends on how Jordan Love's playing.
How will Jordan Love play? And besides, the Packers defense is still pretty good, and you have the 1-2 punch combo of Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. Then you also have we don't need to really talk about the Chiefs. The Jets should be perfectly fine. The Bills should be fine. The Texans, I think, they're going to be a bad team. You should definitely beat them with C.J. Stroud. And then you have the Chargers. You have 2 games against the Chargers. They're going to be obviously a playoff team with Justin Herbert. The Lions had one of the most high-flying offenses, surprisingly led by Jared Goff. They also have one of the better offensive lines in the league. However, their defense is abysmal. The Patriots, they always have a good defense. So we shouldn't be expecting anything else.
Sometimes that defense kind of fades a little at the end of the season. So
that
week
could be
16.
a case. So, no, you probably from week 5 to week 17, at the best case scenario.
Well, they should beat the Texans.
Wins. They should be.
They should beat the Texans, right?
And what I'm saying is that the most they get.
I don't know.
Wins.
The Lions, to me, everyone thinks they're going to be great. I still think it's a question
Including
mark.
me. I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be a playoff team.
I think they're somewhat of in my mind, a question mark because of their history.
Okay.
They have never had.
Okay.
They've never had a winning. I don't know. Maybe they've got the winning culture now. We'll see.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so let's say the first 4 games they go 3-1, and let's say they lose to the Dolphins 3-1. I'm saying from week 5 to let's say even week 18, from week 5 to week 18, if they're starting 3-1, can they win 5 more games, 6 more games? I'm not sure. The Packers I think could be interesting, but that should be a win. The Texans should be a win. You're saying the Lions could be a win. The Raiders, we don't know what they're going to look like at Raiders. Or even, what about Browns? The Browns could be another interesting team. So there's 5 wins there. So are we looking at an 8-9 season for the Broncos? Potentially. And I think that's at the best case scenario.
I think they need to really come out and win that first game. I think that's really important.
I think they could be for the season.
I think they could be 3-1 after 4 games.
And then from week 5 on.
3, I think they can win against is that the Browns or week 12?
That's the Browns.
So there's a win. The Browns and the Texans are a win, so that's 5 wins. I say maybe the Lions is a win, that's 6, and the Raiders again at the end, that's 7.
What about the Packers?
I think it's maybe that's it. Maybe that's 8. Maybe 8 wins.
We're looking at the very best.
8 wins.
8-9. 8-9. And that's coming off a season where Russell Wilson himself, because he got hurt, went 4-11.
Yeah, well, 8-9 is a lot better than 4-11.
He's going to double his win total, but in reality, the way the Broncos season actually ended up, they're improving by 3. So, in reality, I don't know necessarily how good. The situation may turn into we may see Russell Wilson benched potentially at the end of the year. But who knows? But I agree with you. They need to get, they got to get the ball rolling in game 1. Come out here and dominate.
If they're 8-9, they're probably in playoff contention till the end. So I don't.
You think they'll be in playoff contention? 8-9?
8-9. I'm saying if they're
Pittsburgh went 9-8, and they weren't even in playoff contention.
Yeah, well, I
However,
think when you
Miami
get up
did make it though.
9-8 has gotten some teams into the playoffs.
Miami
right?
last season, yeah. But I think Miami's going to be better because they're actually going to have Tua, probably, although he is one concussion
Well,
away
the AFC
from ending his
is
career.
a tougher division than the NFC. That's
And you're
for sure.
playing in the second hardest division in football, the
and
AFC
the
West.
NFC teams that you're playing are pretty good, right? The Lions could be good.
Lions, Packers,
The Packers,
Vikings,
right? The Vikings are a playoff team last year.
and the Bears.
The Bears,
and
so you ought to be
Commanders.
able to beat the Bears.
Commanders as well.
The Commanders you should be able to beat.
I mean, in reality, I'm looking at probably 8 and 9 at the very, very best.
Yeah.
That still puts you third in the division. So you're going to go up one place because I think the Raiders are not going to be that good of a team this season.
No, I don't know. They signed Jacobs. Maybe Jimmy Garoppolo will be good for them. He has his history as a winning quarterback, right? He has a nice percentage win.
Yeah, I think he has more than double. I think he might be. I think he's 40-19 in his career.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It is pretty good. So I don't know. It's going to be very difficult to see if I think the big thing is protection. It really is up to Russell Wilson and that offensive line to give him protection. And I don't know exactly if the Broncos are going to be able to do that. Because the offensive line last season, 55 sacks. And looking at this preseason with Russell Wilson, he was getting pressured left, right, center. I mean, he was getting destroyed pressure-wise. So I don't know. But I do think a key, at least for Russell Wilson, will be that protection. Speaking of protection, though, in a world where online privacy matters more than ever, NordVPN has your back. With its military-grade encryption and lightning-fast servers, you could surf, shop, and stream without a worry. But it's not just about privacy. It's also about freedom. NordVPN allows you to connect to any one of their 5,000 servers across 60 countries. Whether you're a worldwide traveler, a content creator, or just someone who values their digital space, NordVPN is a must-have tool in your online arsenal. And guess what? NordVPN is offering an exclusive deal that provides you with top-of-the-line online safety and security for just 50 cents a day. So why wait? Don't compromise your online safety and freedom. Join the millions of people, including myself, who trust NordVPN and experience the internet the way it's meant to be, safe and open. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.